Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you everybody for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed our previous episode with Brian Ruby. Those of you that love country music and you love Christmas music, that's a double whammy for you there. So something for you all to enjoy there. I'm back today with a brand new guest, and he's another musician. I don't think he's doing country, but I want to welcome to the podcast for the very first time, Mr. Henry K. How you doing, Henry?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good to be here.
Definitely. And you're in the East Coast, right? You're in Atlanta right now?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, yeah. And so before I even touch down on your music, which we'll talk about right now, I want to talk about your background a little bit. So you're from Atlanta, but by way of Brazil, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's where I grew up, and I moved here to Atlanta back in 2017, so not too long ago.
So you grew up in Brazil, and you came to the U.S. just a few years ago?
That's right. Yeah.
Dang. So your English is pretty good, though, man, for having just gotten to the U.S. just a few years ago.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
I know, like, of the Brazilian people I've met, obviously Portuguese, and then most of them speak Spanish too. Do you speak Spanish as well?
I do. Yeah, a little bit. Not fluently, but I can work my way around it.
Yeah, man. So shit, trilingual, huh?
Yeah.
Good. And being trilingual, you obviously you have a lot of different skills there, but musically, you're like a shitload of lingual. It's like you play all the instruments on all the tracks, right?
I do. Yeah. My main instrument that I love it is the guitar. That's what I'm always playing. But I also started learning drums, and I've been always trying to do it on my own tracks, trying to play it, and obviously singing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. So just quick, let everybody know. I was I'm always looking for guests and everything, right? And I'm on Instagram. I'm scrolling through the stories and stuff like that, and a sponsored ad came up for your music, right, for your page. And I checked it out. I'm like, man, this guy's got some stuff up, and it's not, and it just a quick, it's not anything bad, but I'm like, to me, it's like, it's not my cup of tea, but it sounds very radio friendly, right? Like, I don't typically listen to that style of music, but I can appreciate, how it's very catchy. I think people would really enjoy it because it sounds like what's the music that's out today. I would kind of describe it from what I've heard as like a mix of maybe like what Machine Gun Kelly's doing now, or like Post Malone. I think would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that describes it pretty well. I really like Post Malone, and yeah, MGK also has some influence on it. Though I don't necessarily try to go too poppy, but yeah, I'm in that area, definitely.
Yeah, and I think the only reason I know that kind of music, it was playing the WWE 2K22 game. I'm like, what, this is pop music, is pop, pop rock, pop punk, whatever style you want to call it. I'm like, it's kind of making a comeback, but it sounds different, right? It's not quite like Blink-182, Green Day, but that style is kind of morphed into something else, and so that's what's kind of in right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of has the same roots from what Blink did, but it's kind of like a more modern sound, if you could say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you the effects you use on vocals, it's kind of like what's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Right? It's quite auto-tune, but it's some kind of filter, right?
Yeah. Like you said, Post Malone, he's a big influence for me. I really like his music. So I do use like the vibrato like he does it. And I try not to use too much auto-tune. I go more for like the pitch correcting and all that when I need it. But yeah.
With this style of music, right? I'm saying, it's really popular here, and was it kind of big in Brazil, or what were y'all listening to in Brazil?
I wouldn't say it's too popular in Brazil, especially like the rock thing. I grew up listening to it a lot, and back then it was definitely popular because it was like what was popping at the time, like 2006, that around that area. And but yeah, when I moved here, that kind of grew on me again. It wasn't necessarily back in Brazil. Um, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, it's kind of like something that was more recent than not so much like, hey, I've listened to this all my life kind of thing. It's more recent, right?
Yeah. Um, I always liked it, but I didn't really know what it was. Like I didn't know the culture or like pop punk or what is it. I just liked listening to it, but I wasn't really like sure what was it. And
Hmm.
then when I moved here, like music just really grew on me. I started doing it for like really passionately,
Hmm.
and that's when I just dived into it.
Yeah, and I can definitely relate to that. As a high school kid, that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to play music and stuff like that. And I remember, when I was starting, I didn't even have a computer or anything. So right, so trying to like record yourself and you know really master your craft is kind of hard. You really just needed to practice a lot and have a band. And it's kind of hard to practice with the band sometimes when like in my city. I remember I had a band that I played with, and we were playing the garage. 10 minutes later, the cops would say, you got to keep it down. Right? Somebody complained.
Yeah.
Um, so recording myself would be really tough. And I remember I used to get, these tapes and record myself. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put down the acoustic guitar, right, and vocals at the same time, and now I'm gonna play it over a loud stereo, and then record with a different tape, right, the bass or the drums or whatever. And it sounded really shitty, but like it got me really excited because I'm like, wow, that's cool. That's me playing, right? And you start adding more layers. So when it comes to your songwriting process, you play everything, right? What is that like for you? How does that start? Do you typically start um with like a melody, or you start with like a guitar riff, or I mean, everybody has their process. What do you do?
So the first thing I do when I'm trying to write a song is I get my acoustic and my guitar and I just start playing around with it. I try to find like a good like chord progression, something sounds good and unique. And from there I try to build some melodies on top of it. And when I have like pretty much a structure to the song, that's when I take it like to like the computer and I try to record it. And I might add a little some elements to it, and I'll play around with the melodies, see what works best.
What do you use to record? What software?
So I've been using. I know it's not the best one to record, but I've been using FL Studio. That's the one I've been using for everything.
Mhm.
Because I actually been producing all of my songs too.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was looking into like, oh, getting someone to mix for me, something like that.
Mhm.
And it's not the cheapest thing, to do. So especially when I was just starting, I thought it was cool to just try to get um, some knowledge on producing. And I actually also like really fell in love with it, and I love
Mhm.
producing music too. So that's definitely something that I'm happy that I did.
Yeah, you're right. It's not cheap. I remember when one summer right out of high school, my friends and I in a band, we did a little demo, and it was like $500, for just a quick little session. I don't even think it was the greatest, quality it could have been. I think honestly, your stuff that you do on your own sounds more polished than when we did. Um, but yeah, I mean, even though you're doing it very, independent and very much just, without anybody else putting their hands on it, right? It sounds pretty polished, pretty good. And so you could tell the detail you put into quality as far as producing goes. Has anybody else asked you like, hey, can you produce this for me? Can you record this for me? Or are you mostly focusing on your own projects?
Um, I have been actually asked for a few people if they could produce them for them. I haven't actually done it though. I did help them and like gave some tips, but for now I've been kind of just doing my own thing because for me at least it's very easy to do like my own songs because I usually have in mind what I want from that. I know like how I want the drums to sound and all that. And I personally don't feel that I'm in the level yet to like be producing for others because it just feels like a lot more pressure. You don't know exactly what they want from that. So
Mhm.
For now, I've just been doing my own music. Haven't been working much outside of that.
I see. Yeah. So when it comes to your music, what is it you want out of this? Like, what's the future of Henry K musically, right? Are you going to be, form a band, or you would rather just release everything like you've been doing, kind of one by one on Spotify, on your social media? What are your short term goals right now?
So right now, I've been just mostly releasing singles,
Mhm.
and I don't have any plans for a bigger project right now. But what I do want to start doing is like live performances. So I did a one recently, and right now I don't have a band or anything. So if I do perform live, it's just gonna be me and maybe like a guitar.
Mhm.
So I am looking actually to maybe get a band started. So I can perform live, have a drummer, something like that. It just takes it to another level. So that
Oh yeah,
is something I'm looking for.
yeah, definitely. And if not, man, you could always get one of those looping machines, huh?
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, I got a friend who was on the podcast before, Stephen GB. He does a lot of performances like solo, and it
Hmm.
sounds great. He has one of those loopers, and so he'll put down like a guitar riff, and then he'll start singing and or soloing over that. Add like a drum machine, and it's really cool. But you're right. There's nothing that takes the place of like live music with the band.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen some of those drum loop, the loop machines, and it is some people do some really cool stuff with it. It's definitely something I'll look into later.
For sure. Yeah. And so what's the long-term plan then? Everybody gets into music and, there's this whole, I want to make it, kind of fantasy, right? Um, Working at it and working at it and working at it, I think, people can make it, or at least they can, get to the door and start knocking, right? So what's your long-term plans with music?
Uh, my long term plan is I never had like that dream of like being famous or anything like that. What I want is basically like be able to live off my music, like build a cool fan base from it, and just be able to do live shows and make music my main thing. That is my long term plan at the moment.
Mhm. And so what do you think, like, what steps is going to take for you to get there?
Um, I've I've been like releasing music consistently, and like you said, you found me through an ad. I've been running a few ads, and it's been working so far. I've been getting a lot of followers on Instagram, some streams on Spotify too.
Mhm.
So, and I've been talking to a few people like that work in marketing and all that to help me get where I want to be. And so far, I think it's been working really well. But 2023 is like I have a lot of good plans for next year, and I'm hoping that next year I'll be able to get a lot closer to what I want.
For sure. Back in the day, maybe the best way was to, hey, get your song out to the radio stations, right? Less and less people are listening to radio. Is this still something you would want to do, or you think, maybe it's more lucrative to get yourself on some Spotify playlists or something like that?
Um, yeah, a lot of people say that about the radio and all that, but
Mhm.
I still see on some type of appeal to the radio. It's definitely something that I want to do, and I actually sent one of my music in the past to a local radio station here, and it got played, and I even got a few messages on Instagram. So there is still definitely some engagement from radio, and it's definitely something that I still want to do.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think and I say this just because again, it just really caught my attention when I was scrolling through. I kind of stopped. I'm like, hey, that sounds interesting. I'm like, that sounds like, something that is ready to go. Like musically, it's well packaged and ready to go. I think I can definitely hear something like that on the radio. Your music. And how many songs do you have? You have quite a few, right?
Yeah, I think I have right now. Let me see. Um, maybe around 7 or 8 right now out.
Yeah. When did you even start posting them? Because it kind of seems like, I was looking through your social media and everything. Kind of seems like you just kind of like, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one, right? So it's kind of like, like constant. You're constantly coming out with something.
Yeah. So at first I had this in mind of like releasing one song every month, and that's what I kind of started doing because I didn't know much about it, so I just started posting it. Now I kind of have that in mind to like have a better release plan and let people know that I'm gonna drop a song. But when I first started, I was just dropping songs like every month, and now that I kind of know where I'm going, I kind of have a better plan. It's been working out pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. I like, the like I said, like the consistency, and it seems like you're really driven. Um, would you mind if I shared one of your songs, one of your songs on the podcast right now, or at least a piece of it?
Yeah, feel free.
All right, man. So here, I wanted to play the one that I think I heard first. It's called Over Again, the rock version. So I'm gonna play a little bit of that now.
Right.
It's not so easy out here. You fuck it up my life, and I try to tell you, I guess you really just don't care. You've been all around, and every move I make I see your face. Feels like I'm trying way too hard, moving past the trauma in my life. Are you happy now? Did you get what you want? Are you happy now? I hope I never see you again. And it's okay to let it go. You took my heart, made me lose control. And it's okay for you to go. Left me in pieces, wish I would have known. It's not so easy out here.
And I'm just gonna fade it out. I don't know if that was enough to trigger a copyright warning or anything like that on YouTube or whatever. So I'll just stop it there. But just really cool, catchy little hook there and everything. I think that takes some skill, man, because the hardest thing to do is to get like that sing along chorus type of thing, right? But once you've got that, you've got people hooked listening. So
Yeah.
kudos, yeah.
When I'm making songs, that's probably the part of the process that takes the longest, because I try to really narrow down like the melodies to be something that people can sing along and that's just stuck in their head. Um, and I think that one is actually one of my catchiest hooks. And it's funny because I think that one is like one of the fastest one I've done. I was just listening to the song, like the instrumental on repeat, and I was trying to like fit the words and the melody and just like humming along. And I came up with that in I think like 15 minutes maybe, which usually takes me a lot longer.
Wow.
And yeah, and I really love that one too.
Hmm. Yeah, it was kind of in my head too this morning. I'm like, I'm gonna play that song, see what he has to say about it. So what's that one? The lyrics are kind of interesting too. It's not so easy out here. You're fucking up my life or something like that, right? I'm like, damn. So what's if you, what sometimes people don't want to reveal like this is what it's about, this is what it's about. Interpret yourself, right? But if you wanted to share anything about that song, what can you share?
That song is about let me see how I can put it right. It's like trying to tell people like that you're not really fucking with them, if you could say that. And those people that really don't leave you alone. That's basically what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People that you
Yeah,
try to your life, but they just stay there.
I see. Yeah, they're kind of just lingering around. They're like flies on the wall, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so everybody has their own interpretation and whatnot, but I thought it was like when you're saying like it's not so easy out here, I thought it was maybe about you moving over here or something like that, like changing things up or whatever, right? So again, different interpretations or whatnot, but you heard it straight from the creator's mouth there. It's those people that are very pesty and won't stop bothering you.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing about music too. Uh, every person kind of has their own connection to a song, and they can see so many different ways, and that's why I think music is so personal and it's so cool in that because every person can kind of have their own connection with a song.
For sure. Now I'm going to ask, because when it comes to the music industry, I think, some people, they when they start getting a little more notoriety, a little more fame, whatever, they even just kind of change up their whole like presentation, their name and whatnot. You're planning on keeping like the whole Henry K name, or are you gonna like, go by your full name, or are you gonna go, if you start a band, or are you gonna start like put a different name up there, or you even thought that far ahead?
I haven't really thought about it, but I don't plan on changing it, I think, anytime soon.
Okay, yeah, simple to the point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as far as like maybe some music you've got coming up, right? Have you started putting anything else together? Is there anything else in the works, or you kind of just focusing on getting these songs that you have currently out there?
Um, I've been kind of doing both. I do have a song that will be coming out, I think 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks. It's the first song actually that I worked with a mix engineer and with some other producer. Because, like I said, usually I just do it all myself.
Hmm.
So I'm really happy about how that one turned out, and comes out I think December 9th.
Okay.
So, and but at the same time, I'm also working on like getting the songs that I already released out there so people can hear it.
Hmm. And if you have to really kind of give like a quick elevator pitch to somebody, you're stuck in an elevator, you want to tell them like, hey, this is what my music's all about. How would you describe it? How would you sell it to them so that they're excited about it?
Um, I would say that um, I remember uh, it's a mix of influences from pop punk to more modern, even a bit of like hip hop on it. That just comes out with something unique that they can listen to.
Nice. Okay. And so I'm gonna ask you real quick. Obviously you have a lot of different influences, but if you had to put together, like, let's say, you've made it, you're headlining a music festival, right? Who are some of the people you would love to perform alongside?
I think um, growing up, one of my all time favorite bands is Linkin Park. I listen to that all the time, and anything working with them would be awesome. Unfortunately, everything that happened. Um, but yeah, Linkin Park, um, Blink 182 as well. I love those two. And more modern artists, I really like I said, Post Malone, and also Oliver Tree. He's not too big, I think, but he's also a big influence for me.
No, I haven't heard Oliver Tree. What's Oliver Tree's like style? What is that, more rock or more like pop?
He's more of like an alternative kind of rock, but he's a bit different than like he's not too rock, mainly like an alternative. He even did like a country some songs. So
Hmm, that's interesting. Yeah. And so you kind of listen to everything, or I mean, I know you said you have multiple influences. We already talked about it a little bit. More like pop punk, kind of a little bit of hip hop and whatnot. But do you have like other tastes that, like, let's say we're running through your Spotify playlist, right? Do you have other genres that you're really into?
oh, you find it all types of songs in there because I don't really like limit to one type of music. I listen to pretty much everything. Um, from I do even have a few country songs in my playlist. So like from country to like rap music, I have it all there.
Could I'm not a big, huge, country fan or nothing, but I can sing Tennessee Whiskey at a karaoke bar, no problem, and get people going. So, every
Nice.
now and then you'll get different little things like that popping in when you're not, like the biggest fan or whatever. I definitely like a lot of different things. Big fan of metal, but at the same time, I like reggae. It's like those are two extremes, right? One's
Yeah, yeah,
super energetic, one's so laid back, right? Definitely, a big fan of like 90s music, whether that be like the pop or the R&B of the time. I can't really stand too much of the whole hip hop thing, but that's just my taste, not for everybody.
yeah,
And in the 90s it sounded better, to be honest.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know about today, man, with these people. And I know you're a Post Malone fan, but with the tattoos on their face and the colorful hair and the teeth all blingy and all that stuff, but that's their expression, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that too. I look more to the music, and but yeah, with today, it just became so much easier to make some, and that you have so many artists out there, you know, and that I do think it takes like the quality down a little bit, but at the same time, it allows for everybody to be able to put their passion into music and work on it.
Yeah, you know, somebody like Post Malone, right? I had no idea what a Post Malone was. I'm like, when I saw him starting popping up on the TV and the internet, I'm like, what is that, man? I'm like, he's got, you know, he's an ugly little dude. He looks like a chihuahua, right? He's got like all kinds of tattoos on him, and he's got like this hip hop style to him, but he doesn't sing hip hop, right? It's more like pop music, kind of like almost a little touch of rock, but not quite. And I'm like, I expected him to be like a rapper, you know, like a white boy rapper.
Yeah.
But he's not, right? Well, how would you describe him?
It's just a mix because I've heard everything from him. I've heard him singing country. I've heard him singing like more hip hop stuff, and even some rock. So it's definitely difficult to describe what he does, but it's kind of like a mix of all that together. It's difficult.
Yeah, definitely keep the people guessing, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Uh-huh. You're not gonna get any tattoos on your face, are you?
I don't plan on.
That might set you apart. Maybe just get a big old tattoo on your face and be like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy."
Yeah.
Yeah, but what else? You know, what else you want to throw out there about your music, man? Anything else you want to tell people?
I would just say, stay on the lookout for next year. I have some really big songs that I plan on releasing, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I got one in 3 weeks too coming out, so also check that out.
For sure. Yeah, is there a title for that yet? Do you have a title?
Yeah, it's called Till You're Gone.
Nice. All right. Be on the lookout for that, so we can, check that out on your Instagram or your Spotify. Before we get to those links, though, any shout outs for anybody out there in the podcast world?
I'll have a shout out for a really close friend of mine. He's called Gurudeen. He also makes music, and he's been helping me a lot. So shout out to him.
Nice. See, judging by your songs, I would think that you'd be shouting out all kinds of ladies, man. Your songs are it's like this. You got like a little element of like lover boy in there, no?
Yeah, a little bit.
But never mind. We'll keep the people guessing, though, right?
Yeah.
But where can people find you if they want to find you online? Listen to your music, check out your social media. Where can they find you?
I'm mainly active on Instagram. You can find me. My username is Henry K Official, so you can go check it out. And also on Spotify, obviously, just Henry K. You can find all of my music there.
Nice. So we'll go ahead and those of you that are listening, make sure you check it out, listen, subscribe. Leave them a little message or comment if you heard them here. Definitely want to get that music out there. Get them a regular play on, I don't know, the radio, MTV, if they still play music, somebody's Spotify playlist, right? And then just the name of the game is just that exposure, man. Again, I really when I was scrolling through stories and I heard your music, I'm like, I'm gonna talk to this guy. I'm gonna see what's up, right? Because I really do like talking to the people that are up and coming, doing their thing, really kind of striving to put their art out there, whether it's movies, TV, music, art itself, pro wrestling, whatever it is, So definitely good luck to you, man. I hope you accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, and we get the word out there.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that.
For sure, man. So all right, again thank you for coming on. It was a good conversation here. If ever you want to drop by again, I'll be glad to do it again. So thanks again for that.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. And for everybody listening at home, I appreciate you. Thank you. Fuck you and good night.
subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.